Here's the thing about sunsets. They're spectacular. They really are something else. What's even better, they happen every day. Every single day, this incredible, amazing, insert your favorite adjective here, event takes place, and you probably don't even care because, well, it happens all the time. Repetition renders ordinary the incredible. Randy Couture has become a sunset. You know the story by now, and you've heard it so many times you're probably sick of it. 46-year-old successful cage fighter. I don't know if you can tell a more compelling story in 6 words. But it's old news, and no one seems to care. The UFC does a lot of things right, but the treatment of Randy Couture has been disappointing. His last fight, a competitive 15-minute war with one of the greatest heavyweights of all time in Rodrigo Nogueira, was relegated to being the second main event of August. As such, while 1 million people paid to watch Anderson Silva fight, less than half that number paid to watch Randy compete. That shouldn't be the case. One of the sport's most beloved figures, in fact, one of all sports' most inspirational stories, shouldn't be a pay-per-view afterthought. I don't care how many shows the UFC wanted to run and how the schedule happened to fall. Randy deserved better. Now Couture is back fighting Brandon Vera on Spike TV for free. A week before a pay-per-view from Las Vegas is headlined by a guy he beat and a guy he trains. This isn't right. It doesn't matter how desensitized we are to Couture's story. We won't be someday. His final fights, and eventually we have to be witnessing his final fights, right, should be meticulously cataloged for all time. Every single step he takes, every day of practice should be recorded so that future generations can relive what we're taking for granted. Wouldn't every baseball fan wish to have as much footage of Babe Ruth as possible? Don't football fans want more Jim Brown? Randy's story is one for the ages. Maybe 46-year-old mixed martial artists will be the wave of the future. If so, then Randy should be remembered as a trailblazer. But if this is ordinary in the future, it isn't now. All I see right now are mixed martial artists hitting their 40s and being drunk, punch drunk, or some combination of the two. The sport is mainstream now. Heck, Brock Lesnar gets a virus and it becomes news on ESPN. The UFC has arrived. What Randy's doing should be the biggest story all weekend, from here to the New York Times. Everyone should be talking about Randy, but no one is. And part of that blame lies with the UFC. I'll set aside the fact that he's fighting in the UK. British fans are great, and they deserve a chance to see Randy in person. Big fights can happen overseas too, you know. Right, Buster Douglas? But Brandon Vera? That's the best we can do? For all we know, this is the last time Randy Couture will ever fight. And it might be against a guy who lost to Keith Jardine. There's nothing wrong with Vera, but he's hardly a larger-than-life name. He's not someone you look at and say, yeah, Randy's fighting that guy. Go, Randy, go! Instead, Vera is your average light heavyweight with a history of underperforming. That's the guy Randy's going to be fighting? He goes from Lesnar to Nogueira to Vera? Then they put it on free TV. Don't get me wrong, I like free things, and a free Randy fight is cool. But shouldn't we have to pay for this? Shouldn't we almost want to pay to see Randy Couture fight? Shouldn't he be involved in such an important fight, such a big deal, with all kinds of attention, that the UFC would be crazy not to make us pay for it? Maybe that's the worst thing. This is such a ho-hum affair that you get a sense that UFC would have a hard time asking anyone to pay for it. Just like last time, Randy's fight is the other show of the month. UFC 106 with Ortiz and Griffin, and until recently, Lesnar and Carwin, was always the big show of the month, the one that really counted. Couture Vera, a nice little appetizer, something to tide you over a week until the important show takes place. A Randy Couture fight should be its own 7-course meal, not an appetizer. I get that some of this is Randy's own fault. He truly is a victim of his own success. He's been defying the rules of aging for so long that it's routine. We're used to seeing him buck the odds and come back for one last fight. He's become the boy who cried wolf. But eventually that kid gets eaten by the wolf, or something. And eventually Randy will stop fighting. The UFC should know this, and they should be making a bigger deal out of what Randy's doing. There is no excuse. The UK didn't have a main event. The UFC wanted to run 2 shows in August and November. I don't care. You sacrifice a show or 2 for what Randy's doing, because it may never happen again. Fight fans are literally watching a living legend be turned into just another guy. That sucks. People are taking Randy for granted because the UFC is letting them do so. A 46-year-old man is going to step inside a steel cage wearing nothing but shorts and 4-ounce gloves. He is going to competitively fight against a man 14 years his junior. This may never happen again. This Saturday, something incredible, amazing, insert your own adjective here, will take place and no one seems to care. Like a sunset, Randy Couture will simply fade away and be gone before anyone ever notices.